Roofiners to laugh and share stories to our house for dinner. After a short time, he was convinced there was something not quite right with the trike. So we loaded it up and took it to the shop in Calgary. And he said to the guy, "There's something wrong with it. It doesn't go fast enough." So the bike shop owner took it for a test drive and said, "There's nothing wrong with it, Ed. For safety reasons, it will only go 30 kilometers an hour." "Well, that's just stupid," Ed said. "I'll fix that." That fall, he said he needed winter tires for the trike, that he wasn't going to let some snow and cold stop him from getting out. While he finally got the tires installed, we ended up having to replace the wheel with the motor in it. And then he got really excited, because now he could take that motor apart and figure out how to jury rig it to make the trike go faster. Sadly, he ran out of time before he solved that problem. But following a ride this spring, he said to me with a grin, "This trike is great, and I love it, and you still screwed me out of the best bike ride of my life."
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Ed's son, Michael. I was lucky enough to be part of my dad's adventurous life, and it was always fun, whether we were taking a helicopter out for a test flight and then heading into the mountains for an afternoon of fishing, skiing, sailing, hiking, kayaking. The list is endless. But what I really want to talk about is what kind of a man he was. Friends have told us many stories over the past month that really touched us as we were calling around with the news. That made our experience so much easier. The theme that repeated itself again and again is what a great dad, what a great man my dad was. How thoughtful, caring, giving, honest he was with all those that he met. He had a tough exterior, but a heart of gold. And how a chance encounter, a little help with this or that, would turn into a lifelong friendship. This room is filled with those people. There just aren't enough words to describe what a great guy he was. So I'll try and do that by relating a few stories. One of the pilots, Ken Glaze, and his wife Maria were moving to Inuvik to take over the Bow helicopter base there. Shortly after their wedding, there was only one small problem: how to get their two cats to Inuvik. At that time, there was no road up there, so Ken approached my dad and asked if he had any ideas. Ed said, "No problem, I'll fly you up in the Cessna." And a few days later, the Glaze family and cats made it to their new home. There were many pilots who got their start in aviation through my dad's help. One of those, Peter Baltel, had immigrated from Austria to learn how to fly. Somehow he had gotten my dad's name and looked him up. Ed helped Peter by providing him a place to stay, the old mobile home outside the hangar. Peter had a place to live until he could get work, but Ed had a few rules. No calls to Austria. And don't turn the heater on at night, because Ed was worried about the hangar burning down. Poor Peter spent many a cold winter's night in that trailer with all his clothes on to stay warm. But he was always thankful of the chance to get started in the aviation industry and became a lifelong pilot. Ed's secretary for many years was Sandy Hawkes. Sandy and her husband Brian had to deal with their son Bradley being in the children's hospital over Christmas. She was quite disappointed that Brad wouldn't be able to come home for Christmas, as there was no way to get him there. My dad said,